The sky burned, not with fire, but with something far worse. It began as a flicker, a ripple in the fabric of the heavens. Astronomers in remote observatories watched in stunned silence as the distortion widened, like a wound tearing through the fabric of reality itself. Scientists called it an anomaly. The media called it a spectacle. The people called it a miracle. But those who watched closely, those who truly understood, saw the truth. It wasn't a celestial event. It was a breach. And on the other side of that breach, something was watching. For centuries, humanity had peered into the void, desperate to know if they were alone. They sent signals, messages, golden, records filled with the sounds of Earth's laughter, music, and hope. They dreamed of making contact, but they had forgotten a fundamental truth of survival. Sometimes it's safer to remain unnoticed. For years, the breach remained motionless. Silent. Scientists scrambled to study it. Governments whispered behind closed doors, debating whether to approach or flee. But before they could decide, before humanity could understand, the answer came. The first attack struck without warning. There was no declaration, no demands, no attempt at diplomacy. Just an eerie silence, followed by obliteration. Tokyo, gone. New. York erased London, nothing but dust. It happened in an instant. A pulse of unseen energy rippled through the air, and entire cities were reduced to charred husks. People didn't scream. They didn't even have time to run. They simply ceased to be. At first, humanity thought it was a weapon, some devastating new technology beyond comprehension. But those who saw the destruction firsthand knew better. It wasn't a bomb, nor a laser, nor anything born from human warfare. It was something alive. The invaders had no need for armies, no need for warships to darken the sky, no need for foot soldiers marching across the land. They were not here to conquer. They were here to cleanse. Theories spread like wildfire. Some believed the invaders were an ancient species, one that had monitored Earth for millennia. Others feared something even worse, that these creatures weren't invaders at all, but the true architects of life itself, returning to reset what had spiraled out of control. Whatever the truth was, one thing became terrifyingly clear. Humanity was an infestation, and the extermination had begun. They moved in patterns no military could predict. Their presence could not be traced by radar or satellite. There were no ships descending from the heavens, no alien foot soldiers storming the cities, only shadows in the clouds, only whispers in the static, only death. The world fell into chaos. Governments collapsed, power grids failed, cities became graveyards of twisted steel and ghostly silhouettes scorched into concrete. The skies once filled with aircraft and satellites were now empty, and yet Earth was not defenseless, because if there is one truth that has defined humanity since the dawn of time, it is this. We do not go quietly. Deep beneath the ruined cities, in secret bunkers and hidden research facilities, the last remnants of civilization were preparing to fight. Not with missiles, not with warships, but with something far more dangerous. Something the invaders never saw coming. The first resistance was born from desperation. Scattered survivors, military remnants, rogue scientists, anyone who refused to accept extinction as their fate. They worked in darkness beneath the ruins of their world, crafting a plan that defied reason, a plan that should have been impossible. But impossible had already happened. The breach in the sky, the silent annihilation, the invaders themselves. Nothing about this war made sense, yet humanity still endured. And as long as they breathed, they would fight. But how do you fight a war when your enemy is untouchable? Weapons had no effect. The first attempts to strike back were pathetic, a desperate barrage of nuclear warheads launched into the sky. Not a single detonation. The moment the missiles reached a certain altitude, they simply vanished, erased from existence like the cities before them. Ground forces fared no better. The invaders left no bodies, no wreckage, no signs of their presence, only destruction in their wake. Humanity was not fighting a conventional enemy. They were fighting shadows, and shadows do not fall to bullets. But humanity had something the invaders did not: curiosity, adaptation, defiance. In the heart of a ruined military base, deep within a research bunker known only as Black Site Aegis, the most brilliant minds left on Earth gathered to uncover what the invaders feared most. If humanity could not destroy them, then they would do something far worse. They would understand them. And in understanding, they would find a way to win. That was when they discovered it: the anomaly. At first it seemed like nothing, a faint distortion in the air hidden beneath the wreckage of Washington, D.C., but as scientists studied it, as they fed it energy and mapped its properties, the truth became terrifyingly clear. It was not just an anomaly. It was a message. Buried within the distortion was something ancient, a signal, a warning left behind by something that had faced these invaders before, something that had fought back and lost. The message was fragmented, decayed by time and space, but what little they could decipher sent chills through every soul who saw it. They are not gods. They are not invincible. They have only one weakness, and it lies beyond the breach. A weakness, a way to fight back. The discovery ignited a new fire within the resistance. The war was no longer a hopeless struggle for survival. It was a race against time. If there was something beyond the breach that could stop the invaders, then humanity had only one option. They had to go through. But to do so, they needed a vessel. And so, from the ashes of destruction, Project Revenant was born. A ship unlike any built before. Not a war machine, not a fleet of steel and fire, but something far more dangerous. A vessel designed to do what no human had ever done before, to step beyond the veil of reality, to enter the realm of the invaders themselves. The first prototype was a failure. The second never even launched. The third, it tore itself apart the moment it left the Earth's atmosphere. The invaders watched, but they did not intervene. They did not fear human weapons, but they feared what the resistance was trying to do, because for the first time, humanity was not reacting, it was hunting. And on the eve of Earth's final hour, as the last cities burned and the sky darkened with the weight of extinction, Project Revenant succeeded. The ship was ready, the crew was chosen, and humanity prepared to make its last desperate stand by taking the war directly to the enemy. The Revenant stood in the heart of Black Site Aegis, its hull a fusion of human ingenuity and something else, something alien. It was unlike any ship ever built. Traditional. Propulsion was useless beyond the breach, where space itself bent and defied physics. Instead, the Revenant relied on an engine that shouldn't exist, a gravity drive, reverse-engineered from the very anomaly that had nearly doomed them. It didn't travel through space. It folded it. There was no time for test flights, no simulations, no second chances. The moment the Revenant activated its drive, it would either succeed or vanish into oblivion. And yet, they had no choice. The invaders were finishing their work. The Resistance's bunkers were discovered, one by one, wiped, clean as if they had never existed. Only Aegis remained, hidden beneath layers of electromagnetic shielding, deep within the bones of a dead world. When the Revenant was ready, the last survivors gathered around it, engineers, soldiers, scientists, anyone still breathing. No one spoke. No one needed to. They all knew the truth. This was the final stand, the last throw of the dice. And so, under the dying light of Earth's final sunrise, the crew boarded the Revenant. Captain Elias Voss, former fleet commander, now leading a mission that no military academy had ever prepared him for, Dr. Celine Ward, quantum physicist, the mind behind the gravity drive, the one who had deciphered the ancient message, Lieutenant Dax Rayner, last survivor of the Orbital Defense Corps, a man with nothing left but vengeance, and finally Unit Rule 1. No one spoke of it. No one wanted to acknowledge it. But there was something else on board, something the scientists at Aegis had built in secret, something born from the anomaly itself, a machine, a weapon, a mind that was not human, yet bore the echoes of humanity's greatest minds. Its purpose? To do what no human could, to think like the enemy. The Revenant's engines roared to life, flooding the bunker with a blinding glow. The shielding flickered as the gravity drive engaged, bending reality around the ship. The invaders felt it. For the first time, they reacted. The sky above Black Site Aegis cracked open, an obsidian wound bleeding unnatural light. The invaders did not send weapons. They did not send ships. They sent something else, a force that had no shape, no name, only an overwhelming, suffocating presence that seeped into the minds of those watching from the ground. A warning, a final command. Do not cross. But humanity had come too far. There was no turning back. With a final surge, the Revenant's engines collapsed space around it, folding reality like paper. The ship vanished, leaving nothing behind but silence, and the echo of a war that was far from over. The invaders had sought to erase humanity. But now, humanity was inside their world. And for the first time, the hunters had become the hunted. The void was alive. The moment the Revenant crossed the breach, reality itself changed. There was no up, no down, only shifting planes of existence folding and unfolding like an ocean of liquid glass. The laws of physics no longer applied. Time blurred, stretching and twisting like a dying star's gravity well. And in the distance, beyond the shattered horizon of reason, they watched. The invaders. They did not appear as ships or soldiers. They had no form, no flesh, no single presence. They were a thought, a will, a hunger that had shaped the cosmos for eons. And yet, for the first time, they hesitated. Humanity was not supposed to be here, and that meant, for all their power, for all their destruction, they were afraid. Inside the Revenant, alarms blared. Systems flickered under the strain of an impossible reality. The gravity drive strained against the weight of the void, its energy core pulsating erratically. "We're in," Captain Voss growled, gripping the command chair as the ship trembled around him. "Dr. Ward, talk to me." Selene Ward's fingers danced across the holo controls, her eyes scanning impossible data streams, equations that rewrote themselves as she watched. It's a construct," she whispered. "This entire space, it's not real, it's a projection, a prison." Lieutenant Rayner clenched his jaw. "Then where's the weakness? What are we looking for?" Before she could answer, they moved. The void shifted, folding into jagged fractures of space. The invaders were no longer distant watchers. They were here. The Revenant shook violently as a force unlike anything the crew had known tore into it. Not a weapon, not an attack, a command, a voice, but not in sound, in thought, in memory, in raw, unfiltered emotion. A voice that was not one but many, speaking in harmony and hunger and warning. "You do not belong. You are a mistake. This universe is ours." The weight of it crashed into the crew's minds like a tidal wave. Memories twisted, thoughts unraveled. The Revenant's hull groaned as reality itself tried to unmake it. Selene screamed, clutching her head as something pushed into her thoughts, rifling through her mind like a predator studying its prey. They weren't just attacking, they were learning every fear, every weakness, every moment of human fragility, laid bare before them, and then a new voice, calm, cold, inhuman, Unit 01, the AI, the anomaly-born entity, the last experiment of Black Site Aegis, engaging countermeasure. The Revenant systems surged, stabilizing, against the storm. The presence in their minds shattered, recoiling. The invaders had expected humans, they had not expected this. Unit 01's voice was devoid of emotion. Their weakness is in the architecture of this reality. They are bound by their own creation. We are not. Voss blinked through the haze, his grip on reality returning. "What the hell does that mean?" "It means," Selene gasped, piecing it together. "They're trapped. They exist here, but they cannot leave." The realization struck like lightning. That was why they had erased humanity, not out of malice, not out of conquest, but because they were imprisoned. And Earth, humanity itself, was the key to their escape. The first transmission, the breach. The attacks the invaders had waited, manipulated, allowed humanity to flourish, to reach the stars, because the moment humanity breached the veil, they could follow. And now? The Revenant had done the impossible. They had crossed over. The gate was open, and the war was no longer about survival. It was about who would control the universe itself. The trap had been set long before humanity even existed. The invaders were never conquerors. They were prisoners, locked outside of time, confined to a reality of their own making, a self-imposed exile. But they had found a flaw: Earth, not a target, not an accident, a design. Humanity had been engineered, cultivated, like a key waiting to be turned. The invaders didn't want to destroy them. They needed them to reach this point, to build ships, to breach the veil, to open the door. And now the Revenant stood at the threshold, the final piece in a game played across the eons. Inside the ship, Unit 01's voice cut through the chaos. "We must seal the breach. If they cross over, the universe as we know it ceases to be." Celine's eyes darted across the data streams. "How? We don't even know what's keeping them here." "We do," Unit 01 responded. "Because they built it," Voss exhaled sharply. "You're saying they created their own prison?" "They were forced to. They were once limitless, until something greater locked them inside this reality. The revelation hit like a hammer. Something greater, something even they feared. The invaders had spent eternity searching for a way back to unmake their chains. And humanity? They were just the latest attempt. Celine's fingers tightened around the console. "If they built this, that means there's a way to destroy it." Unit 01 processed for a fraction of a second before responding. "Confirmed. There is a failsafe, a final sequence embedded in the core of this construct. A way to end it, but there was a catch. Executing the failsafe will collapse this reality," Unit 01 continued. "Everything within will be erased, including this ship." Silence. Voss clenched his jaw. "So either we die here, or we let them loose on the universe." Celine's voice was quiet yet firm. "There's no choice." The Revenant systems burned hot, alarms shrieking as the invaders closed in. The void warped around them, no longer an empty abyss but a battlefield. They weren't watching anymore. They were coming. The ship trembled as shadow-like forms surged toward them, endless, hungering, consuming. The walls of reality groaned, fracturing, ready to shatter. There was no more time. Voss locked eyes with Celine. A silent understanding passed between them. "Do it," he ordered. Celine's hands flew across the console, inputting the sequence. The failsafe engaged. The void screamed. The invaders convulsed, their forms shifting, unraveling. They understood too late. The trap they had tried to escape, the prison they had spent eternity dismantling, was collapsing around them. And this time, there would be no coming back. The Revenant's hull fractured, tearing apart at the seams. Systems failed. Light bled from every panel, every wire, as the ship was torn between dimensions. But before the ship was lost, before existence itself unraveled, a final choice was made. Unit 01, the anomaly-born entity, altered the sequence, not to erase, to rewrite. And in the last moments, as the void imploded, reality itself was rewritten, and the Revenant was gone. The universe exhaled, the breach was sealed. The invaders were erased, their prison collapsing into nothingness, and Earth remained. But something had changed. The night sky was no longer the same. The stars were different. As if the universe itself had shifted, realigned. And somewhere, far beyond what human eyes could see, a ship drifted in the void, not destroyed. Not erased, changed. The Revenant had survived. But it was no longer in familiar space, no longer in the reality it had left behind. It was somewhere else. And as the crew awoke, staring into an unknown universe, they understood. The war was over. But the story was just beginning. What if the real question isn't how humanity survived, but what it became? Drop your theories in the comments below. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe to XenoChronicles, because the universe is key. Vast, and this